You placed a glass of water on your desk for 10 seconds. You were reaching for a pen, and when you turned back, the glass was tipped, water was pooling directly into your laptop keyboard, and your cat was sitting on the edge of the desk, staring at you with an expression that suggested absolutely nothing had happened. Or maybe it wasn't water. Maybe you walked into the kitchen and found your favorite ceramic mug on the tile floor shattered, its contents splashed across the room, like evidence your cat had no intention of cleaning up. Or maybe it was quieter than that. Maybe your plastic tumbler slowly slid off your bedside table in the middle of the night, and you woke up to a cold, wet puddle on your hardwood floor. Unharmed, just claimed. These all look like the same thing. Your cat being chaotic. But they are not the same thing at all. The cat on your desk, the cat with the shattered mug, and the cat that woke you up at midnight are each running completely different psychological programs. And when researchers put felines into behavioral labs and design controlled experiments to study these exact moments, what they found turns "my cat is being a jerk" into something far more complicated and far more interesting. It smells like you. The quiet kind of glass tipping is the one people misread the most. Your cat approaches your water glass, gently dips a paw in, licks the rim, or lightly nudges it. No chaos, no damage, just contact. In 2021, animal behaviorist Dr. Kristen Vitale and her team at Oregon State University published a landmark study in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science. They analyzed the profound impact of owner scent and presence on feline stress resilience. During controlled testing, a caregiver's scent functioned as a powerful, secure base, measurably reducing a cat's physiological markers of anxiety and activating reward pathways in their brains. When your cat bypasses their own pristine, filtered water bowl to drink from or interact with your water glass, they aren't trying to contaminate your drink. That glass, coated with your saliva and carrying your highly concentrated scent, neurologically signals safety, reward, and social bonding. Your scent to your cat's nervous system functions like a natural calming agent. Veterinarians and feline shelter specialists have built enrichment protocols around this for years. Leaving an item carrying the owner's scent in a cat's carrier doesn't just soothe them. It biochemically stabilizes their heart rate and respiratory system. The cat sitting on your desk sniffing your glass didn't target it out of spite. It went and found the strongest comfort and attachment signal available in the entire room. The best game they ever invented! Then there's the kind of knocking over that comes with direct eye contact. Your cat sits right next to your water glass, extends one slow, deliberate paw, looks you straight in the eye, and pauses. It doesn't swipe immediately, it waits. What it is waiting for is your reaction. Because the last time this happened, you jumped out of your chair, gasped, waved your hands, and moved quickly toward it. You dropped everything and engaged completely. And from your cat's perspective, that was spectacular. The water glass was irrelevant. Your dramatic reaction was the prize. This is operant conditioning at work. The cat performs an action, the environment delivers a consequence, and if that consequence is high-energy attention, the behavior strengthens. But the reason this particular behavior becomes almost impossible to undo is something behavioral psychologists call a variable reinforcement schedule. You don't respond the same way every time. Your cat didn't defy you. It invited you to play using the most reliable strategy it knows, nudging something it knows you will instantly react to. Wired to swipe. There's a reason some cats do this constantly and others barely bother, and the explanation goes back thousands of years before any domestic cat was born. Every domestic cat carries a behavioral chain inherited from wild solitary hunters that ethologists call the predatory motor sequence. Orient, eye stalk, pounce, capture, bat, bite, and consume. In 2019, researchers Mikel Delgado and Jackson Hecht published a comprehensive review in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science, synthesizing decades of research on how object play develops in domestic cats. Their analysis confirms that batting, pawing, and testing objects with a paw first is a distinct hardwired stage cats use to determine whether something is alive, dead, or a threat before committing further. The same tactile assessment instinct kittens use on real prey, while their mother watches from a few feet away, deciding whether to intervene. A herding dog was bred to control without killing. A cat was never bred at all for this. Every house cat still runs the same wild assessment sequence its ancestors used on a mouse, whether the target is a moth or your water glass. The impulse doesn't know the difference between a grasshopper and a coffee mug. When your cat taps your pen or your water glass and watches it wobble, looking deeply satisfied with itself, that's not misbehavior. That's a working trait engineered across thousands of years of survival, with no wild prey left to test. They know when you're watching. Gravity experiments operate on a different level entirely, and the research behind it reveals something about your cat's mind that might genuinely surprise you. In 2020, animal cognition researchers at Kyoto University published a series of papers exploring how cats construct complex mental maps of their owners' physical locations and visual fields. They tested cats' sensitivity to human gaze and focus in relation to target objects. The critical detail, the variable that predicted whether a cat would deliberately swat an object off a desk, wasn't just physical access. It was whether the human was looking. Separate experiments confirmed that cats consistently initiate attention-seeking behaviors, like pushing glasses off counters, from positions directly within the human's immediate line of sight. This is not random impulsiveness. This is perspective-taking. Your cat is constructing a model of what you can and cannot perceive, adjusting the timing of its gravity experiments based on your visual focus. Desk clearing isn't a failure of obedience. The difference between tapping and destroying. There's a distinction buried in all of this that changes everything about how you respond, and almost nobody makes it. A cat that gently taps your water glass, watches the liquid ripple, and then curls up next to it is engaged in low-arousal sensory curiosity, a modern expression of ancestral water testing. These two cats need two very different responses. Behavioral research on feline enrichment shows that cats given a choice between familiar toys and novel objects overwhelmingly choose novelty in the majority of trials. Your cat doesn't target your water glass because your glassware is inherently better. It ignores its own toys because they are familiar. This is why shouting or spraying water almost never fixes chronic swatting. The research points toward structural enrichment instead, rotating toy selections, puzzle feeders, elevated vertical perches, and scent-based foraging. When a cat's need for novelty and cognitive engagement is met elsewhere, the appeal of your desk glass drops significantly, not because you hidden the glass, but because your cat's brain finally has something more interesting to analyze. The teenage gravity tester. If your cat is between 6 months and 18 months old, and the cup knocking feels relentless, there's a reason for that too. Veterinary behaviorists, including researchers at institutions like the Cornell Feline Health Center, consistently document that this age window is the single most volatile stretch of a cat's development.